You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Whoa! Okay. I'm ready.
Welcome to Split Your Head, a bi-weekly podcast hosted by me, Bob, that covers the gamut of all things horror, exploitation, cult, underground, experimental, transgressive, bizarre, and indie. I've been fortunate enough to connect with some of the most groundbreaking and upcoming filmmakers, writers, and artists. Don't expect a typical interview. I love shooting the shit with my guests and stumbling on surprising topics that'll literally split our heads. From splatter comedies to nihilistic sleaze, uncomfortable art house to genre classics. If it gets my brain buzzing and cracking wide open like a watermelon full of blood, then I would like to share it with your ears. Now a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network. Hi, Mom.
The following podcast will contain spoilers, tangents, hot takes, and excessive foul language. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Frightmares Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Proctor, and joining me today for episode 390 is my beautiful wife, Gabrielle Proctor.
Hello.
Michael and his wife were supposed to be on this episode, and they totally flaked out on me. Definitely wasn't my fault.
They flaked out after you flaked out, but mostly it was you flaking out. Yeah.
I just want to give him a hard time. It's not his fault. He always feels bad. He's like, I feel bad when we can't make an episode work. I'm like, it's okay. I promise you it's okay. So they were going to do this with me, but just timing didn't work out. And, you know, it is what it is. It's no big deal. So I assigned you the task because you watched this with me anyways.
Which really made me like the default backup at that point.
It really did. So here
Set
you
myself
are.
Up on that one.
We're going to get Michael on another episode. But yeah, today on another installment of Julycanthropes Howl, we're discussing our international pick Gingersnaps from 2000. A coming-of-age story with a slightly higher than average body count. Let's see where this lands on the Nightmare Index. So, what have we been watching?
Oh, geez, what have I been watching? I've been watching everything.
Everything.
I rewatched the movie Timeline from 2003. Everybody hates that movie. I know it doesn't make any sense, but I still enjoy watching a bunch of archaeologists and just run around panicked in old-timey France. I rewatched Riding in Cars with Boys. They said I.
Oh, I thought you said we.
Rewatched Riding in Cars with Boys, which is an excellent film. Very complicated relationships in that one. That is Drew Barrymore, and she is excellent in it. Watched The Sheep Detectives. It was very silly, but it was cute. I have some questions about the plot, but, you know, that's fine. Voicemails from Isabel, which also came out this year, which was really, really good. I'm going to show you that one when I get to pick all the movies in February.
Yep. I've been hearing nonstop about that one, so
yeah.
Excited-ish.
I watched All the Bright Places, which is a 2020 movie with Justice Smith and Elle Fanning.
Oh.
And it was my bad for thinking it wasn't going to go to a really dark place.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was like, oh no. Oh, that's sad. Oh, damn. Okay.
Did that to yourself, didn't you?
Really did. I should have seen that coming because it was a coming of age story about sad kids. So should have really expected something darker to happen. You showed me Gothic Slayers, which I really, really liked.
Say that again for the people in the back.
I really liked Gothic Slayers. You guys did a great job on that if you're listening.
I will be sure to reach out to Ben, Dylan, and Caleb and say my wife really enjoyed that.
I did. It was really, really fun.
It's really good.
I really, the style on it, the the whimsy of doing the you had told me that they had to, for budgetary reasons, do the 8-bit animations.
Yeah, 8-bit animations.
And that was so fun and felt so in place. Like
Right.
it didn't feel out of place at all. It didn't feel unnecessary. It was just so
And that was
seamless.
And that's funny because that was like a last minute addition. I actually got to sit down and interview all three of them, Dylan, Ben, and Caleb. And that will be dropping later in August after the other director interview that will be dropping at the end of this month. So I'm going to try and plan to just fill up the back half of the YouTube with director interviews. So
very nice. Yeah. I was surprised when you said it was last minute edition because it just
it literally felt the entire felt. It literally felt like it belonged there the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've shown my daughter We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, which if you're a 90s kid, you 1,000% remember.
Classic.
And of course, I've been watching a shit ton of kids movies because that's what we do now.
And we were also on vacation whenever
all last week.
Last week as of this recording, but I have to switch around. I'm going to have to backdate some of these episodes because this month is all over the place. So
because we were on vacation taking our daughter out
to
for her
the
birthday.
beach.
Yeah. Other than that, I saw the 5-Star Weekend, a 6-part miniseries on Peacock with Jennifer Garner, Gemma Chan.
Gemma Chan.
Yeah, someone kisses Gemma Chan in that movie, and then they apologize. I'm like, you know what? Honestly, if Gemma Chan looked at me and was that close to my face, I'd probably do the same thing.
Hard to resist her. I mean,
look at her.
Look at her face. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yep.
You're ending with Gemma Chan?
Gemma Chan.
Yeah, that's a good place to end.
She is beautiful.
Let's see. So I didn't do my cult movie challenge. Or I didn't talk about my cult movie challenge on the Werewolves Within episode. At least I don't think I did. Okay, let me yeet my fucking iPad into oblivion. So that was Dolph Lundgren week, and I watched Dark Angel because I had the 4K from Scream Factory, bought it a while back. And the funny thing about Dolph Lundgren as a human being is the first time I heard the name, I was like, that is the most made-up name I've ever heard. Because I heard his name for the first time on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Season 5, episode 11, Mac and Charlie make a movie, and they pitch an action movie starring Dolph Lundgren as the muscular scientist who can smell crime before it happens. And he transforms into a dog, and their tagline is, I can't remember what it was, but it's like, and he can smell crime. So that's the first time I heard about it, and that was a while ago. And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, not only is he a real person, he is an incredibly handsome man, but what a fuck ugly name. Dolph Lundgren. It does not roll off the tongue very well. Dark Angel was peak 90s action. It was a $7 million budget that you could have fooled me. I mean, there's explosions, shootouts. I don't want to give away one of the coolest weapons in that movie because it's pretty sick, but I fucking love that movie. It only shockingly has, I mean, I guess it's not shockingly low. It has a 3.1, but for me who enjoy it, like, this is my movie. Like, this is exactly my lane. 4.5 stars, no regrets at all. Really like that one. And then we were on vacation, so Super Mario Brothers Sing, all those movies. I rewatched The Dirties for probably the second time because I was editing the Shameless Picture Show, and that's a movie that they covered. The Dirties is a truly masterpiece of a film. 4.5 stars for that one. If you don't know what it's about, I don't know if I should just say go check it out. It doesn't involve some sensitive content regarding, is that a spoiler? I don't really want to spoil it. There's some sensitive content involving guns and places where guns shouldn't be. I'll just leave it at that. But still, it's a very good mockumentary behind the, what, in your butt?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where, yeah.
I was going to say, is that like the Stand situation or?
Right in the butt. No, it's directed by Matt Johnson. This was like his kind of, I think this was his first movie that did gangbusters at the film festival. Kevin Smith called it the most important film you'll see all year, and it's an incredible movie. Of course, I watched the movie that we're reviewing today. We watched something called The Truth and Tragedy of Mariah Wilson. 3 out of 5, only because it's very obvious who the killer was. And then, after watching the terrible Howling 2, Your Sister's a Werewolf, I decided to watch Howling 3, because why not?
And now it's your brother.
Yeah, right. Howling, no, this is The Marsupials, the Howling 3, and it takes place in Australia. It's just a bad movie. I'm sorry,
I thought my title was stupid, and then you actually said the title.
Yeah, it takes place in Australia, and it turns so much more into a love story than it is a horror movie. Also, the werewolves are not consistent. Some of them have these really weird non-hairy faces. It is a very strange movie, and there's like 7 Howling movies.
That's a lot.
It's just too many. I plan to watch them all at some point when I can get them, but that's going to be immediate sell to get out of the collection, just like Howling 2 was. Nothing's going to top the original, and I wasn't expecting them to. I just had to watch 2 and 3, given their ridiculous premises. I did watch Pinocchio Unstrung, a screener sent over by Pixel Scene Media, the strongest of the Pooniverse films, which I am not sold on that name, but it is what it is. Pinocchio's motivations for killing were a little paper thin, and it was just like, it's hard to explain.
Maybe he has some unexpressed rage issues, so he was just looking for a reason.
He does, and I guess that's what it was. But I was like, hey, man, you can invent better reasons for Pinocchio to go killing people. And Robert Englund is in that movie playing Cricket, and it's really cool because he has a total Freddy vibe as Cricket. He's got these like kind of long, I guess, claws. I don't think crickets have claws, but
they don't.
It's very reminiscent of like the Freddy gloves. And he also says, bitch a couple times, which that's kind of what that's like his thing in Nightmare on Elm Street.
He do be saying bitch a lot.
He be saying bitch. So he was great in that. Richard Brake was also fantastic as Geppetto, and Pinocchio himself was a fully animatronic puppet. And I would say about 90% of his screen presence was the animatronic. I know they had to do CG to get away. I don't know if it was even CG, but it looked like some sort of a green screen.
Oh, yeah. You can only do so much sometimes.
Yeah, because there were certain moments where there was like some sort of an outline around him, and I was like, okay, I don't know if this is CG or green screen. But give that one a 3.5 out of 5. And then I rewatched Evil Dead Burn. Oh, what?
I was just going to respond to what you said.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, especially with like animatronics and stuff, you can only do so much. And like, you got to think with like Jim Henson Productions, they're building the world with which they are filming, so they can get away with a lot more.
That's true.
But if you're working on actual like sets that are pre-built sets, you're even more limited.
Yeah, they pretty much remove the floor from every set that they're in the Muppet movies.
Yeah, except for the bike riding scene in one of the Muppet movies, which was done with if you ever get a chance, look up how they did Kermit and all the Muppets riding bikes in a park.
Insane.
The complicated way they made that practical and did that without like doing some sort of crazy close-ups.
Because that was the original Muppet movie was 1979, and I remember seeing Kermit ride a bike, and I was like, how the fuck did they do that?
I mean, Kermit playing banjo in a pond.
Yeah.
Involved, I think it was Jim Henson being in a tank underwater with a screen and puppeting it. He was literally underwater to do that.
Yeah.
You can't do all that shit if you're already in a set that already exists. So
that's true.
It's understandable.
Watched Evil Dead Burn again in theaters, just as good as the first time. This is the year of me rewatching movies in theaters. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm loving it. And then we watched Deep Water. Finally, missed that in theaters.
Sure did.
Missed that in theaters. Got a review copy from Alliance Entertainment. And boy, was it a silly movie. Boy, were there some choices made. But I did have fun with it.
It was fun.
It was fun.
The more I think about it, the more I feel like the person who wrote it really hates their parents.
Rennie Harlan might be going through some stuff.
Not one parent was up to just the basic snuff of being a parent. I mean, you had parents ditching their kids to go bang in the bathroom.
Oh, perfect. I wanted to bring that up because I did a review of this movie and I couldn't fit it in because I didn't want it to be over 3 minutes. Yeah, you have this couple joining the Mile High Club, leaving their 2 kids in the aisles.
One of whom is clearly
like on the spectrum.
Yeah, on the spectrum, and gets very anxious when his iPad dies and his parents are nowhere to be found. And because they're too busy trying to screw in the bathroom. Like what in the world?
From behind in skinny jeans.
In skinny jeans.
It's never gonna happen.
You can barely stand one person in there, and you've got to get skinny jeans off. And I mean, these things were
plastered
as tight
on.
as they could be. They were painted on.
Plastered on.
And so you got that. You got a dad who's working too much to avoid the realities of his son's illness, which they like make a big reveal about later. But if you're listening to the first conversation he has with his wife, it's really hard to miss that. And then you got another guy who's off, like he's like, yeah, I'm a good first date guy, but I'm not a good like marriage guy. But a photo he has implies that he probably just ditched his wife with all their kids, who he still loves, but he's not there. Like, all of you suck as
all
parents.
Of these characters.
What are you
all
doing?
These characters suck, except for Aaron Eckhart's not the greatest, but he's whatever.
He's flawed. Yeah. But I'm saying from a parental standpoint.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. He does get some I think like being in a dangerous situation reminded him that kids need help and maybe he should be there for his kids.
Maybe.
But it was, I mean, there were other characters that were more likable, but it was just so funny that you had this whole running thing where all the parents sucked.
All the parents sucked. I need to catch up on my cult movie challenge. Week 29 is Rare Lust Week. Don't know what that is, but I'm watching Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. And then week 30 is Stephanie Rothman Week. And the movie for that is The Velvet Vampire, which I figured you and I would watch together because vampires.
Yeah.
So that's all I have for recently watched. Let's move on to the body count. Did I do the Nightmare? The let's see where this lands in the night. Yes, I did. I can't remember things. So this is Gingersnaps from 2001, released on May 11th of that year in Canada, and then making its way to the States on DVD October 23rd of 2001. This is not rated. Mild sex and nudity, severe violence and gore, severe profanity, moderate alcohol, drugs, and smoking. I would say severe because everyone is chain smoking in this movie, and severe frightening and intense scenes. Coming in at an hour and 48 minutes, listed as a drama, fantasy, horror, thriller. Directed by John Fawcett, who literally only directed 2 other movies called The Boys Club, 1996, and The Dark, 2005. He has more credit for TV work and directed 17 episodes of something called Orphan Black, which he created.
Oh, have you not seen that? That show's crazy.
Oh, okay.
I never got to finish it, but it's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, written by Karen Walton, who also wrote 4 episodes of Orphan Black, and John Fawcett. He only has 3 credits for writing, but he, like I said, he created Orphan Black and wrote 50 episodes. Composed by Mike Shields, he also composed Tucker and Dale vs. Evil and 104 episodes of something called Fireman Sam, probably a kid's show.
Probably.
Cinematography by Tom Best, who also did the cinematography for The Boys Club, and 61 episodes of Queer as Folk.
Queer as Folk, yeah.
Queer as Folk, yeah.
Yeah.
Edited by Brett Sullivan, who also edited Blood and Donuts, Saw 4 alongside Kevin Grutert, and A Christmas Horror Story. Starring Emily Perkins as Bridget. She was also in the It miniseries as young Beverly Marsh. We have Catherine Isabel as Ginger, who people are either going to know from American Mary as Mary Mason or Freddy vs. Jason as Gib. Or you might know her from both. I know her from both. I love Catherine Isabel. She's an incredibly just appreciated actress. And this is where it gets funny because we have Chris Lemch as Sam, who is also in Final Destination 3 as Ian McKinley. Mimi Rogers as Pamela, who was also in Lost in Space as Maureen Robinson. And then Jesse Moss as Jason, who was also in Final Destination 3 as Jason Wise.
They all over the place.
So two Final Destination alums. Estimated budget of $5 million, grossing $2.6K. I don't know. That's what I found. Filmed in Brampton and Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. You can watch this on Plex and Pluto. Movies that came out around the same time: Monsters, Inc., Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, The Royal Tenenbaums, Zoolander, Shallow Hal, Behind Enemy Lines, 13 Ghosts, Frailty, Black Knight, Riding in Cars with Boys. Didn't you just say you watched that?
That's funny.
Out Cold, Corky Romano, Max Keebler's Bog Move, Big Move, Bones, and Shredder. Yeah.
I think 5?
You haven't?
6.
Oh my
7,
God.
7. Yeah, no, it's 5. 6. Sorry.
Which that you have or haven't?
6 that I haven't seen.
Holy shit. I know you haven't seen Corky Romano.
Correct.
I know you haven't seen Out Cold.
No, I've seen that many times.
Okay. Max Keebler's Big Move.
Correct.
Haven't seen Bones.
Correct.
Haven't seen Shredder.
Yep.
Haven't seen Frailty.
Yep.
Haven't seen Behind Enemy Lines?
There you go.
Whoa, we have to watch that. That is
I've heard it's good, but I've never seen it.
It's so underrated.
Yeah, if that's the Out Cold I'm thinking it is, Comedy Central used to play it like
They did.
all the fucking time. So I used to watch it all the time.
The one where the guy puts his dick in the jacuzzi thing or whatever.
And they keep playing the Weezer song.
Sure. Sure. IMDb summary: 2 death-obsessed sisters, outcasts in their suburban neighborhood, must deal with the tragic consequences when one of them is bitten by a deadly werewolf. Let's go into the autopsy. Overall thoughts, Gabby, on Gingersnaps. What do you got?
This may shock you, but this is not one of my favorite werewolf movies.
Whoa, really?
I know. It doesn't make sense.
Really?
And look, the thing is if you break it down into pieces, I like all the pieces. There's something I don't vibe with, and I don't know if it's like the overall quietness of the movie or the pacing. There's something, I have not figured out what it is, but there's something that doesn't quite work for me because it happened the first time I watched it too. I found myself getting a little bored, which is ridiculous because I didn't rate it that low. I rated it higher because I know I like the werewolf. I like the story. I like the acting.
If this is not a fucking slap, I'm going to be so angry with you. Oh,
but it just like something about it doesn't 100% click for me. And I'm sorry. I really want it to. I can't figure out what it is that doesn't 100% click for me.
I should have had Michael and Amanda on this show. Son of a bitch.
Well, that's...
Hindsight is 20...
You're welcome for being here at all.
Thank you. Well, apparently complete opposite of you. I love this movie. I mean, it might be the fact that I'm very, privy to Catherine Isabel. I do really enjoy her performances.
That will really bump your rating up a lot.
It will really bump your rating up because she is fantastic in this.
Your rating.
Bump my rating up. I also really enjoy the werewolf, even though it is not a bipedal werewolf. The design itself is fantastic, and the fact that it is all practical in a time where CG was becoming very prevalent really makes me happy. There are some elements that I do not like that we will get into, but it doesn't cut down my rating by that much. So this will be interesting because I thought this was the movie for you. What happened?
I told you I don't know.
Okay.
You never asked me what I thought of the movie. I just said I'd watch it.
That's true. All right. So from the corrections department, real quick, the rapper I was trying to think of in a movie that I recently saw was A$AP Rocky. He was in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. And I mentioned that Nandor calls Guillermo Gizmo in What We Do in the Shadows, but I meant to say Laszlo calls him that because he can never remember his name. But anyways, this movie opens with a dead dog, and that is unforgivable. Half a star taken away immediately. Don't like that at all. Like, I understand. What is it with werewolf movies and dog deaths? Like, what's the thing?
I maintain that dogs can show aggression towards each other. Werewolves are a dog-like creature that impose a great threat, which would put other dogs on the defense. And as it is a killing machine, it's going to kill the thing that could attempt to fight it or is threatening it. It's just a defense thing. And dogs happen to be more aware than people.
Okay, but Baxter did nothing wrong. And he was I think it was Baxter. He was the tiny, tiny dog that the overweight kid, hockey, or maybe it was just all the hockey pads. But that kid, his dog was like 2 pounds.
The dog was barking.
The dog was not a threat.
Yeah, but also at the same time, killer instincts kicking in. So
yeah, well, literally, I mean, the opening scene, and it's graphic. I mean, we don't see the dog die, so I guess there's at least that, but you see the aftermath of the dog. Not a fan of that at all. I also just had a quick question, one quick question. Does every high schooler in this movie smoke cigarettes? Because Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many high schoolers smoking cigarettes at school.
Yeah.
On the bleachers, on the field, in their car. Anyways. Where do you want to start with this one? We could talk about the obvious connections between the whole becoming a woman and the werewolf thing. Mm-hmm. I'd also obviously like your perspective since I don't go through periods.
That's true. You don't.
I don't. So how about I give you my perspective and you can tell me how inaccurate or accurate
What
I
a
am.
man you are. No, go ahead.
Jesus Christ. So obviously this movie coincides with Ginger and her period. Apparently they're like both of them are 3 years late having periods, which is strange. I guess the mom is like, oh yeah, it's finally happening, which seems like a weird thing, but is that normal? Like, oh yeah, it's finally happening.
Oh God, the spectrum for reactions to periods is so crazy because you've got people who are so deathly afraid of it, and because some people consider it a sin and immoral. Your body starting to do the thing it's supposed to do makes you immoral, and the idea of anything to do with your reproductive organs should never be spoken of.
Yeah.
I know people who've shared when they got their period for the first time, they thought they were dying because no one would tell them what was going on, and they were absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
Then you've got parents who are trying to normalize it to the point where they throw period parties.
Oh.
Where they'll get girls together and play games and stuff and kind of celebrate that it's going to be happening to try to make it less scary.
Okay.
Which is cool and all, but also feels very uncomfortable because your hormones are like raging. You're very self-aware of your body. Mm-hmm. And having everybody else let you know that they're looking at you.
It's weird.
Would just add to that stress.
Yeah.
And then you've got people who sit somewhere in the middle. Like I got sex education in 5th grade. So the summer after that, my period started and I went, oh.
This is it.
All right, I guess this is happening now. Literally, it was so nonchalant. I called my mom.
In 6th grade, that's when it starts?
Some girls, it's starting earlier now.
Okay, because these girls are, B is 15.
Yeah.
So I guess 3 years before that would be 12. So yeah, I guess that is about 6th grade, yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
Usually around 12,
God
but
damn.
some girls, it's happening even earlier. So I've heard girls as young as like 8 in some cases.
Well, it's all the hormones we're eating.
But yeah, it's like, it's just such a broad spectrum because female reproductive health gets taken. It's just like a talking point for so many things. And so the scale on which people interpret it and the scale at which people react to it is so crazy.
Well, here's kind of the parallels that I wrote down with this whole topic here. So, girl's first period marks the sudden, uncontrollable entry into womanhood, right? And in Gingersnaps, her first period is during a night out, and the bleeding attracts a werewolf to her, which literally triggers the curse, right? Yeah. Typically, the physical and biological changes, there's unexplained cramping, rapid physical growth, changes in hair, body hair, and sudden hormonal swings. And in Gingersnaps, she has, it's rapid hair growth, sprouting claws, intense stomach pains, and mood swings that morph from typical teen angst into feral aggression.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yep.
Okay. Then awakening sexuality. The sudden rush of hormones brings a heightened, often confusing awareness of sexuality and male attention. Mm-hmm. Gingersnaps. Ginger transforms from an isolated outcast into an aggressively sexual predator. She pursues boys with reckless abandon, and her infection even passes through unprotected sexual intercourse. Yep. Which is interesting because it's like, hey, it's like It Follows, but werewolves. Mm-hmm. The sisterly divide. This is something that I'm just speculating because 1, I'm not a girl, and 2, I don't have a sister. But Obviously, girls mature at different rates. One sister might embrace new social expectations and physical changes, while the other one lags behind or resists them, causing a rift in their relationship. Sisters Ginger and Bridget start with their shared goth antisocial worldview, but as Ginger changes, she leaves the devoted Bridget behind, creating a tragic wedge in their previous unbreakable bond.
Yes.
Okay. Last one. Teenagers often feel like strangers in their own bodies, and adults often dismiss their emotional turmoil as just a phase or hormones, whereas Ginger's body and personality warp. The well-meaning adults, like the mother in school, completely invalidate her symptoms, chalking her erratic, monstrous behavior up to the normal pains of becoming a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anything else you'd like to add to that between the parallels of the period werewolf whole thing going on in this movie?
I can't remember if you said that, the werewolf thing is a curse, and getting her period is often referred to as getting the curse.
Yeah.
But we also talked about while we were watching it. Yeah, she goes through a lot of changes. And yeah, you're right. When sisters, or it doesn't even necessarily have to be sisters, but sometimes when a person changes, like hits maturity faster than someone else they're close to, sometimes it can cause that kind of rift because their identities aren't as linked in solidarity.
Right.
And you've got one person who's moving forward to explore that change, while the other person literally can't go with them.
Right.
And that does cause a divide. And I know while we were watching the movie, we discussed that Ginger literally starts growing a tail. And
I wanted you to mention this. Yes.
And how we were watching it, and I was like, oh, you know what this reminds me of? Unfortunately, for some girls, we've talked about how periods can start even earlier nowadays. Imagine being a 10-year-old and suddenly you've got boobs.
Right.
And how uncomfortable that would be because none of the other girls have them. And also, it does bring that unwanted male attention suddenly. And you've got grown men making comments about your chest, which is gross on so many levels, but it's also uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's back to what I said before. You're already so aware that you're looking different and feeling different, and then everybody else lets you know how much they notice too.
Well, and she was taping down her tail, and you mentioned something about how some women will kind of let.
There.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And so what a lot of girls have done over the years is, especially girls who unfortunately go straight to D cups or bigger,
just become very endowed all of a sudden.
Yeah, suddenly are full chested. That can be extremely jarring. A lot of girls will bind down their chests with like ace bandages to flatten out their chest to make it less noticeable because they don't want people to make comments. They want to fly under the radar. Fun fact, a lot of girls at that age just want to get by. They want their crush to notice them. They don't want everybody noticing them.
Yeah.
And especially in that unwanted way. And so when you see Ginger wrapping down her tail on her leg, it just reminded me of that about, this is a thing that's growing rapidly that would make her changes extremely obvious. And she's binding it to her leg to make sure no one can see that change happening.
Yeah. Well, and this is interesting too, because it's like, the thing about this movie is I think it takes the struggles women have getting their period and personifies it with the whole werewolf thing. It like gives it like a visual representation because usually it's all an internal thing that women go through. I mean, obviously their bodies physically change, but this amps it up to a level of like, turning into a werewolf. So it just like raises the stakes for like, this is how it might feel for some women.
Yeah, and I think it's also interesting. You kind of talked about how the adults dismiss it as this is normal, this is part of the change and stuff. That puberty for girls and periods is such a taboo subject that that people try not to look at it, try not to focus too hard on it because that's a dirty thing.
So glad you brought that up because I have something to say too.
But to the point where Ginger's clearly got crazy nails. She is more aggressive. She is wearing completely different clothes. And her mom never bothers to sit down and have a proper talk with her.
She does bring her that really gross cake that looks like it's bleeding. And I'm like, that's the cake we went with, Mom? Yeah.
And she goes to read a magazine about it.
Right.
And the only person who's really locked in on what's happening to Ginger is her sister, who was there the whole time.
B's a ride or died.
Yeah, except B's only talking to Ginger about this thing that's happening. Ginger's scared deep down. And she's feeling this whole new range of emotions because the werewolf curse is changing her into something else. And so then she gets defensive against B because she can't control how she's feeling, but that's all her sister's talking to her about. It's all she's doing is constantly trying to get, pressure her to figure it out, to fix it. And Ginger can't even grapple with her own feelings about it. And her, so she starts pushing back at B for like, hey, how about you mind your own damn business? Like, she is scared, and the adults who should be stepping in to try to help her navigate aren't there. And it's just this, like, it's so weird how the adults really just dismiss it, and it's normal, and it's just cramps, suck it up. It's just your period, you're fine. And it's a really hard change. Like,
yeah, you don't,
because I mean, girls don't talk about it to guys.
Yeah.
And they don't talk about it at school because they're embarrassed. But I know I'm not alone in the thousands and thousands. I dare to say millions of girls who have had to call out of school because the cramps were so bad you couldn't stand up.
Yeah.
Or you bled through your pants in the middle of the day. You're not just walking around with extra pairs of pants. Great. Hopefully I brought a jacket today.
Right.
Learning to remember when the thing happens so you remember to be supplied. It's a lot and it's stressful, and making sure you bring the right medication so you're not in pain all day. Mm-hmm. And it's this hard, jarring change. And then adults are just like, well, you got your period now. Best of luck out there.
Well, and that brings me to the dad, who is just really the worst dad ever, because they're talking about it at dinner, and the dad's like, we're eating here. Like, come on. Like, okay, first of all, this is a natural thing that happens to women. Chill out. Like, he is so disgusted by the fact that his daughters have hit, or Ginger has, hit that point in her womanhood. It's just like, you're the problem, Dad. I don't even know the dad's name.
Nope.
I don't care about him. Ben, maybe? I don't know.
Sure.
But he is like the worst part of this movie when it comes to this, because you're right. Even the mom, she's like trying to be supportive. What?
But she's trying to be supportive, but to the point where she's overly positive, and she's not actually having a discussion with her daughter. And I will give the dad 1 point of 1 star of credit.
Okay.
He notices shit's getting weird and says, hey, is this like normal? But then the wife brushes it off.
Right.
And he's like, well, I don't know, so I guess you'd know better than me, and moves on.
Yeah.
But he does take half a second where he starts to wonder about it, but his wife is so dismissive because she's had her period for decades at this point. So she, as far as she's concerned, this is totally normal teenage girl stuff.
This is happening too. The shot is out the parents' window of Ginger and Bridget literally carrying a dead body out to bury it, and the camera pulls back, and the dad's like, I feel like these girls are up to something, and she's like, it's just normal teenager girl stuff. And you're right, she just totally brushes it off as they're carrying a dead body right past the window,
which I think adds another layer, because one, you've got a dad who dads frequently are completely out of the conversation about periods. As you know, that will not be optional for you, because the whole embarrassed to buy your daughter tampons thing.
I bought you tampons. I don't fucking care.
Who cares?
I don't give a shit.
It's literally cotton on string. Who gives a shit?
People just make such a big deal about it.
Making
men, really, because they don't understand it. And ew, you bleed once a month. That's gross. Fucking grow up.
Yeah. I think they describe how her period is in this movie. That like the teacher does, or the counselor or somebody. And I was like, I don't know that I'd put it in that such descriptive terms, but yeah,
Here
I mean, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
But men are frequently left out of the conversation because they are told from day one that it's gross, it's unclean, it's literally a normal body function that we can't control, and it gets made to be this disgusting, dirty thing. And so yeah, they don't talk about it, they don't help with it, they often mock girls for it,
Right.
And make fun of them.
That's not going to help a girl who's going through all those hormonal changes. That is going to do the opposite. And
it makes you feel bad about yourself. It makes you horribly embarrassed for this thing you have literally no control
men
over.
need to fucking chill. Men are the problem, okay?
And then you've got the mom who dismisses it because she was a teenage girl once, which really speaks to the idea of parents knowing how they would have been as kids, seeing how their kids may behave better than them, or just really deciding without really spending time or getting to know their kids what their kids are capable of.
True.
Or what their kids are up to. So they're so comfortable in their mentality that they don't bother to really properly check in. Like their daughters, I mean, she dismisses the period thing as being totally normal. Their daughters do a whole suicide photo shoot. If our daughter did that, I'd be like, hey, I think we should talk about this. I'm not mad at you by any means, but why don't we talk about what gave you this idea? You know, like checking in with your kids is really important, and the parents don't. And that I think is a rolling not narration
Theme
throughout the movie is that the parents just assume they know what their kids are doing, accept that that's who they are, and to the point where they just don't see them.
The only time that they ever bring it up really is when they kill that preppy girl in their house and the parents pull up to the driveway and B is like, get up now, like move. And they act like they were staging a death scene in the house. And the parents are like, girls, we told you, like, don't do this in the house. So like they've accepted this weird fascination with death that these girls have, to the point where they say out by 16 or dead on the scene, but together forever. And this is something I've never understood about, because this also comes up in a movie called Harold and Maude, where Harold is just obsessed with death. He's recreating, like but he's not taking photos. He's doing it because he thinks it's funny. I don't know. That movie treats suicide in a way that it's just not for me. And this one only really begins with that. And it turns out it's for this class project, which horrifies the teacher. But I've always wondered just what is that fascination with suicide and kind of glamorizing it, because it's not something to do, you know, it's not a new thing by any means, and it still gets done today. Like there are so frequently things about teen suicide. And I mean, like Heathers is another one where that's a satire on how these people could be absolute monsters, but once it's assumed they've killed themselves, oh well, we really see the tragedy of their lives. Right.
And it's a dark comedy about teen suicide and how it gets treated. But I think part of it is because, like we've been talking about, you've got all these new neurons firing in your brain and like these new connections being formed, but you've got this rage of hormones, and you've got so many kids doing the exact same thing, and some of them choose to hide and some of them choose to take it out on each other, take it out on those who are weaker, to deal with all of that. And sometimes the idea of death, it's projected as the final escape.
Yeah.
And I think for teens, they, like, let's be honest, as teens, we were hella short-sighted. And I think for teens, it's like, well, yeah, obviously the only options are survive and like either survive happy or be dead. Those are the only two options. It's not, hey, life does get better as you're older, but like if it doesn't get better now, the only thing to do is be dead.
Well, and this happens before she gets bit.
Oh, yeah.
This is all in the beginning. You know,
I know that.
They stage these elaborate death scenes. They photograph them. It isn't just like this edgy horror imagery. It's supposed to be creative, expressive. I would say they consider it like performance art. They're not like only fascinated with death, but I wouldn't say they're filmmakers. They're photographers, special effects artists, I would say, because they're making all this crazy shit, and storytellers. They're turning morbidity into creation, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think they also do establish something important, is that they control death. At least they think they do, because everything is fake and staged until the real monster arrives. And then suddenly death isn't something they photograph. It's literally chasing them.
Yeah, exactly. Once the death part becomes real. Yeah, once you're dead, you're dead. That's it.
That's it.
So that's why I think death gets romanticized, because when you're removed from it and you're just looking at it as a form of release, oh, well, you can just picture that you're going to a better place, or at least you won't be suffering this. You will be dead.
Yeah.
The people around you will suffer, and that's it. The people who cared, and you will be gone forever. And I think it's just kind of it's like trying to teach a 8-year-old about death, and they're just like, thing there, thing not there anymore.
Yeah.
I think by the time you've hit teenage years, you really feel like you know it all. You really feel like you understand, until you're faced with that thing, and how some of those things, the finality of some of those things, and the hard reality of some of those things come crashing in. It's like, yeah, it's not quite what you think it is.
Yeah, because before they get attacked by the werewolf, I mean, the movie spends time making us fall in love with Ginger and Bridget, and not in like a romantical way, but just like they're sisters, they're best friends, they're partners, they're essential to each other's world. They've even made a blood pact because they had little scars at 8 years old. It's kind of funny, it's edgy, it's cringy, in the way teenagers often are, but it feels deeply sincere, because they genuinely believe it. They're convinced that they'll never become adults, they'll never become their parents. They don't want to become suburban drones, and I think that's the biggest part of this movie, is the suburban landscape that they just clearly don't fit into, especially their school. This is such like a painfully authentic teenage mindset. Everything feels permanent, friendships, promises, identities, until it's not.
Yeah.
So I think they captured the teenage experience. I mean, I still don't understand the death thing. I don't think I ever will, because, the whole out by 16 or dead on the scene, I'll never understand that, just because that's not who I was as a kid. But
neither was I, but like, think about it. What didn't you romanticize as a teenager? Like, I remember I was going to go, I don't know a teenage girl who didn't imagine walking somewhere and then being discovered by a talent scout. Then suddenly I was going to be a supermodel. I was never going to be a supermodel.
I was going to be a star.
I had the illusions that I could be an actor one day. I can't act. So I'm not exactly sure what I thought I was going to be doing.
Yeah.
I had this dream that college was going to be just like the movies. You go to parties, you have study montages. It's going to be amazing. You're going to make these amazing friends, and you're an adult now, so you can do whatever you want. No, it's still fucking school, guys.
Yeah.
It's still school.
Still sucks.
I didn't go to a frat house until I was 22. And it was a band frat house. And it wasn't even at my school. And I went to, I think in college, college party-wise, I went to 2 parties. And I went to school for 6 years. That's because I switched schools, not because I'm dumb. But, like, it was nothing at all like I believed it to be. No. And that's what I think is kind of the same thing with, like, romanticizing death. You have this idea of what it is, this beautiful freedom. And it's not that. It's not that at all. And I think that's just, like, very much the teen mentality. Like, your frontal lobe's not fully developed, which I know we all talk about all the time when it comes to teens.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, teens. But you've been under your parents' roof your whole life, and suddenly you're coming up to the part where you're going to be responsible for who you are, what you do, what you become, and shape everything. Your entire world is cut off to bloom a whole new fucking world entirely of your making. That's terrifying, but you can picture anything because everyone tells you the sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm.
And
whatever you want to be, you can do whatever you want to do as long as you put the mind to it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think there's just like with teens, there's this idea that it's all almost imaginary because it just doesn't feel real. You've been 18 years, or in this case, 16 years, you've been living under your parents. Anything that happens after that is just a concept.
Yeah, because like I said, they both made this pact. Because up until the werewolf attack, the film like intentionally makes these sisters almost a single organism, which I find interesting. Like they finish each other's shots, they dress similarly, which is different than everyone at school. They walk together, they eat together, they do everything together. People don't really see them as separate entities, or people rather. They see them as the Fitzgerald sisters. That's it. The movie almost frames them as twins emotionally, even though they aren't, they're just sisters. But then everything changes. There's that sisterly divide when we have the werewolf attack, because Ginger's going down one path and B is going down another path entirely. And just like you said, and like what I said, it's like everything is permanent until it's not. And this is where it becomes not permanent. All of their plans go out the window after this werewolf attack, because now they're going down separate paths entirely. Mm-hmm. So with that, I think Ginger's arc is interesting because becoming the monster kind of initially solves her problems. She's confident. Boys start to like that scene when she walks in school with the gray streaks. Like you can tell she feels so much more confident. And B is still this. I would describe her as mousy. Yeah. Right. I very rarely describe anybody as mousy.
No, but it's accurate. I think she's meant to be.
Yeah. So now you have this kind of weird, I guess, dichotomy, if that's the right word, where you have strong, confident young lady who is now going after boys. It's everything she secretly wanted, and now you have B, who's kind of secluded and by herself and finds some solace in the guy that's trying to help. I can't remember his name. Paul?
I don't know, the stoner dude
Who's selling all the fucking weed. Jason? Sam? One of those two. Let's go with Jason. So yeah, it's a very interesting split once the werewolf attack happens, because now it's like sister against sister.
Yeah. Also, side note, I love that Ginger infects a dude.
Yeah.
Which she totally just does a oops moment for, which I thought was really funny. She's like,
oopsie doodle.
Like, well, my bad. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. But it's so fucked up to me that, Ginger's story is honestly tragic. She can't escape what's happening to her.
No.
And her sister's fighting tooth and nail, but at the end of the day, her sister can survive this whole ordeal.
Yeah.
And Ginger is trapped, and they even find a solution, but a guy ends up getting the solution instead. And now there's no help for Ginger. He's going to be fine. He gets the cure. He's going to make it. And there's no telling if it would even work on Ginger after she's changed.
Right.
So Ginger is is an extremely tragic character. Much like Jennifer and Jennifer's Body. I know this movie and that movie get compared heavily.
Spiritual sisters.
Really are, though, because you've got two close bonded people. In this case, they're actually sisters. But something happens out of her control to one, and then she starts becoming more popular, more noticed. Yep. But it's taking a toll on her that she can't really express and she can't really control. Like you get that scene in Jennifer's Body where she looks sick.
Oh, yeah.
And she's smearing the makeup all over her face. And, they can't control what happened to them, but they are expected to pay the consequences of everything they do because of what happened to them.
Yeah, because I don't think this movie is saying female sexuality is dangerous. It's unchecked power of any kind. Doesn't matter who you are. The werewolf simply externalizes that corruption because by the end, Ginger stops fighting it altogether because she enjoys being the predator, and that's where we truly lose her.
Yeah, and I think it's I think she doesn't really, at first she doesn't want to be this way, but then she feels that freedom of shaking off the societal expectations. But yeah, there's nothing they can do, but at the same time, it really does say like women who get that kind of power should be punished. Mm-hmm. And women can't be trusted with that kind of power, or women, not that they can't, but that they won't be, and that it will turn them into monsters. Because if you think about a werewolf movie with a man, mm-hmm. usually the man that's turning into a werewolf, not every time, but a lot of the times, it's just projecting the male aggression that men already deal with. And this is with women though, it amplifies their sexuality, and now they're seen as trashy because they're accepting their sexuality. And it's just really interesting how women's changes often get rooted in their sexuality, whereas for men, it's about their aggression and their unchecked rage. And I'm rambling at this point, so you go ahead.
Well, that's what I think this movie does very well. I mean, yes, it does involve sexuality, but it goes back to what I just said about it's not trying to say it's because of what's happening with her. It's unchecked power because she just fully embraces it at one point.
Because she gave up, because she doesn't.
She gives up.
I don't think she embraces it because she's having fun. I think she embraces.
No,
I mean, she like a little bit, yes.
Well, because there's a scene when she kills the janitor, and BC comes into that, and Ginger is like, it feels so good to just like she feels like at that point that's when she's like, I like this. I'm embracing this 100%.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I'm not saying it's not anything about that, but at the same time, I think it's so painful to fight it. Yeah, and it's so much easier to let it go,
to just give in.
Which is always like a theme in people getting changed, werewolves, vampires, whatever. It's like the theme is you'll just be happier if you let go and stop fighting it.
Right.
And I think she's saying like, yeah, it feels better, it feels easier, it's not so hard when you just give in to what I am now and stop trying to fight against it.
Yeah, because you have Bridget, the whole time Bridget is trying to become, I guess, almost like a caregiver. When Ginger embraces this whole thing, Bridget clings to reason. She tries to do research and medicine, and then she eventually comes across this whole monkshood thing, which I think is cool. It's like, they mentioned it's like similar to Wolf's Bane or something like that. But not as poisonous. So it feels grounded in this mythology that I really like. Instead of some magical cure, you get monkshood, which is a real plant. And it's historically associated with wolves and folklore. It is Sam. Sam discovers it by accident, and they're talking about how they're going to go about it. And he's like, we don't even know, like, you have to take into consideration height, weight, metabolism. We have no idea how much of this we're going to need. And luckily, she gets to test it unintentionally on the guy that Ginger turned, because she runs across him berating a child, and then he starts to attack Bridget, and she stabs him in the neck with the injection, and he seems to recover because he's like, oh, I've got to go, like I've got homework to do, and runs off. So she's like, oh, this works, this cure works. But unfortunately, like we mentioned earlier, Bridget doesn't get the injection into Ginger until she's already turned. So I think at that point it's just too late. Yeah, it just kills her.
Which is, like I said, like often when guys become aggressive like that, or like start acting out because of their changes, so they have their mistakes swept under the rug, and like abruptly he changes and runs off like nothing happened.
Yeah.
And we don't deal with him again.
He probably doesn't, when you're, it's like.
He doesn't, whether or not he remembers, he doesn't face any consequences for his actions. He literally fucks off and we never see him again.
That's true.
Ginger does not get to escape the consequences of, again, a thing that she did not have any control over. He chose to have sex with Ginger,
But he didn't know she was
I mean,
a werewolf.
no, he doesn't know. However, that being a mild metaphor for an STD, he does know he can get something from having unprotected sex.
Yeah.
He gets a cure. He gets to walk away scot-free.
Mm-hmm.
Ginger essentially got this disease without any consent. It just happened to her because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And then she never gets to escape the consequences of that.
No, and
she has to pay to the very damn end.
And this is where that ending is so tragic, because Bridget's love becomes almost self-destructive. Like, she is willing to infect herself just to maintain a connection with her sister, which is fucking heartbreaking. She will literally poison herself because life without Ginger feels impossible. And most werewolf movies end with killing the monster, roll credits, problem solved. Like, we did it. Like Silver Bullet, they did it. We can go away.
It was just like, all right, we did it.
Bye.
The end.
But not here, because Bridget isn't defeating this evil. She's losing her sister. There's no victory. It's only survival, and that's an enormous difference from most werewolf movies, because the final confrontation hurts because Ginger's gone. Bridget still hesitates, still hopes, she still believes until she can't. The knife isn't a weapon. It is just an acceptance of the fact that I can't save you. You have disappeared from who you are. And few horror endings hit as hard as this one does, because now Bridget, and it makes me wonder. I just bought them actually on DVD, because there is a Gingersnaps 2 and 3.
Yes, indeed there are.
And the second one has a 3.2 out of 5, mind you. So wondering how those even happen, because Ginger's dead at the end of this. So, I think this movie is not only a commentary on quite a few things, but it's also just a very different werewolf movie that stands out from the pack. And I really like this movie. Plus, again, that practical fucking werewolf in 2000, all practical.
It's a quality werewolf.
It's a quality werewolf.
We've talked about this multiple times. It's really easy to fuck up a werewolf.
It's really easy to fuck up a werewolf. I enjoy the fact that its face is hairless. It's just this grizzled, fleshy thing, but then it's got the patchy hair. I don't like the fact that it's bipedal. I really wish it had more prominent ears, but the look it's still a good look. So I think that's all I have with, outside of the two things that didn't work for me. Too many dead dogs. Too fucking many dead dogs. And then the dad just not being supportive. That is not the dad I will be. I might not understand what my daughter's going to go through later on in life, but I will be there to support her.
You're not going to make her feel gross about it?
I'm not going to make her feel gross about it, because this is something that happens to every single woman. So, anything else you got?
Nope.
All right, well, then I will end with... Oh, I had something I was going to end with.
Did you?
I did. I don't know. I just think that beneath the fur and blood and body horror, I think is just one of the most painfully human stories that werewolves have ever told. It's scary, funny, it's emotionally devastating, and I think it's smart. Anchored by two performances that deserve to be discussed alongside some of the greatest in horror history. Emily Perkins and Catherine Isabel as sisters were an absolute perfect match. I think they were unreal. And I like the fact that they are slowly turning into this werewolf over the period to the full moon, Mm-hmm. So like she gets the little fangs at first, and then the tail, and then the claws, and then she fully transforms on Halloween night, just like Silver Bullet. We got two werewolf movies that end on Halloween night. So that's all I've got. Let's roll into the final cut. All right, so taglines. She's got the curse. They don't call it the curse for nothing. Hungry like the wolf. Ginger snaps and bites.
Wow.
Love that one. Trivia. Director John Fawcett refused to have CGI effects in the film, opting for all of the special creature effects to be done with prosthetics and makeup. Real MVP right there. Along with the coincidence of stars Catherine Isabel and Emily Perkins auditioning on the same day and both landing the roles, the two actresses were also born in the same hospital, attended the same preschool and elementary school, and worked through the same talent agency.
Wow.
It's crazy. Despite being a major success internationally in the UK and Australia, Gingersnaps struggled to get noticed in the USA until HBO began airing it in the early 2000s, which was when the film started to pique the interest of North American horror fans. Due to the fact that the the film features teenagers in violent situations. Production had a difficult time getting funding because of the Columbine massacre and other school shootings that had recently occurred, because Columbine was 99. This was banned from certain cinemas in the UK in 2000 as it was seen as promoting violence amongst teenagers. However, when the VHS released later that year, it was one of the fastest selling horror films of that time. So, no goofs that I could find of value. We have a 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb for our purposes of the Nightmare Index. That is a 3.4 out of 5. Then we have a 3.7 out of 5 on Letterboxd, a 90% on the Tomato Meter, and a 78% audience score. What did you give this?
3.5.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I gave it a 4, and I almost want to just bump it up to a 4.5, because honestly, my only problem with this is the dead dogs.
Look, if I could figure out what it was that wasn't working for me, I'd tell you.
Fine, then I will give it an extra half point because you can't figure it out. So that's a 4.5 from me, which gives us a Nightmare Index of a 3.78, which is going to be, let's see here, that is going to fall at our number 9 spot. In between, We Are Still Here with a 3.69 and Reanimator with a 3.84 out of 5.
Oh, nice.
I'm telling you, man, Letterboxd really struggles with finding similar movies, but let's start with IMDb similar movies. You got Gingersnaps 2 Unleashed, Gingersnaps Back, the beginning, American Mary, because, Catherine Isabel, May, and Dog Soldiers. Similar movies according to Letterboxd. Cursed. All right, we're off to a great start. Evil Dead. Okay. It Follows. Sure. Cabin Fever. And then Evil Dead Rise.
Sure.
I don't know what's going on. All right, let's do some funny reviews and get out of here.
Okay.
I've got 12.
Jeez.
I'm just kidding. No, I brought 7 because I figured we would have some overlap. So.
Okay, I have 3.
Oh, good Lord. Okay.
I should start so you don't read the 3 I have.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, first up, Cookie.
Cookie?
Yeah, their name's Cookie.
Okay, how many stars did they give it?
4 stars.
Okay.
Watched this movie because I took a which murderous teenage girl are you personality quiz and got Ginger Fitzgerald.
Okay, deleted that one. 5 stars from Sophie. I want this entire movie tattooed on my ass. I love it so much, dude. Fucking what?
3 stars from Russ Man. This movie would have turned out a lot different if it was called Snickerdoodles.
2.5 from Adam Bolt. What the fuck did dogs do to the people who made this movie? I agree. What the hell?
4 stars from Jody. Perfect Halloween movie for girls who are both sexy but also deeply weird and off-putting.
This one's specifically for you, so you can tell me because I couldn't spot it. 3 stars from Cat BB. Sometimes you just have to stop and say, "Damn, that's a terrible wig."
Oh, they're talking about the white wig that she was wearing towards the end of the film.
Okay, yeah. 3 stars from Mary. Ginger did nothing wrong. In fact, she could have snapped harder.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, we have 3.5 stars from Sarah Clements. I always thought Ginger Snaps was a weird title, but then Ginger Snaps. Oh, man, if you enjoy the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Slasher, Threads, and YouTube at Frightmares Podcast. Our email is stayspooky@outlook.com. You can also follow me personally on Letterboxd at Dr. Proctor, all one word. You are...
Watson LMP 90.
Booyah. If you'd like to expand your movie podcast listening, be sure to check out the Shameless Pictures Show, the Dead-Eyed Millennial Film Club, and 1 Week Rental as well. Also, the vast library of someone's favorite productions. There is a podcast for you. Next week, although I think it's just going to be later this week because all of my timing and posting is all fucked, Derek and I will be doing Werewolves on Wheels. Yes. You heard me correct. From 1971 as our wild card pick. It is streaming on Tubi, Plex, and Pluto, and involves Satan. So,
like you do.
The things and all the stuff. So until next week, guys, stay tuned and
stay spooky.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description